Good day, everyone. This is again your Manang Lucy coming to you through our program Health Matters with Doc Tong. Today, this is something that we usually plan, each new year, a lot of us get resolutions, di ba? And part of that resolution is something pertaining to health. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us a special doctor who specializes in wellness.
Okay, Ma'am Lucy, magandang araw po sa inyo at sa ating mga nanonood, mga loyal viewers. Ngayong araw na ito, gusto ko po ipakilala sa inyo ang isang doctor po to. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Lucy, magandang topic po ito kasi we will be discussing about weight loss trends. So, today, napakaswerte po natin at makakapanayan po natin ng isang doctor. Nagtapos po siya sa UST. And then maganda po at nagpatuloy po siya sa kanyang pag-aaral in lifestyle medicine in the United States. And then he's also the head of lifestyle medicine in the medical city in Pasig. So let's welcome Dr. John Paulo Di Pasupil or Dr. John or Doc John na lang.
Yeah, good,
Doc John, magandang topic ngayon.
yeah, good morning. Thank
Good
you,
morning,
Doc.
magandang araw sa iyo,
Manang-
Doc John.
Manang Lucy for having me here.
Magandang topic ngayon, Doc John. It's about weight loss or yung opposite, obesity. Ano ba pwede natin gawin?
So, yeah, the obesity medicine is our yung specialty. Pero, of course, ay nang sabihin natin, obesity, mataba, ang taba-taba mo, we avoid those kinds of terms kasi those are masyadong negative lang sa isang tao kasi we don't know kung they're already doing something. So, better we talk about kunwari, if a person is mataas ang timbang, we go for patient with obesity. So we don't label that. We label that one instead of obese patients. No? And madaming mga trends ngayon sa weight loss, hindi lang sa mga new workouts na nakikita sa YouTube or sa mga diets out there. Meron din mga certain medications and also mga gene therapy or counseling, testing and therapy na nagkakaroon na rin tayo dito sa Philippines, and that would help in tailored fit din yung mga program sa isang tao na nangangailangan ng tulong mag-lose ng weight. Kasi hindi naman lagi weight loss is for aesthetics or for shaping,
Yes,
you know. It's for health reasons, no? So when there is about a 5 to 10% weight loss nangyayari, malaking pagbabago yun sa isang katawan ng isang tao. Lalo na yung blood pressure nag-normalize, no? Or bumababa kahit paano, tumutulong sa pag-manage ng blood hypertension. Sa diabetes rin, napapababa rin natin yung sugar. Sa fatty liver, baka natutulungan na hindi masyado magkaroon ng inflammation, lalo na hindi pumunta sa liver cirrhosis. At madami pang iba. Isa sa pinakamaganda rin is yung mental health. Kasi ibang tao parang nade-depress, nagkakaroon ng anxiety with
Kasi
with-
parang
with-
affected din yung nila, self-image, Doc. Sometimes, persons with obese pala, they get depressed because also they compare themselves with the bodies of other individuals. But Doc, before we go deeper into the weight loss trends, kasi karamihan po sa ating mga nakikinig, siguro kagaya ko, no? Bago rin sa akin ang wellness medicine, Doc. So, can you just give us an overview of what this branch of
Yes.
medicine
Yeah.
is? It seems to be a very
Lifestyle
new...
medicine.
Oh, it's more lifestyle
Yes.
medicine.
Yeah, so wellness medicine, also known as lifestyle medicine. So it's a new specialty here in the Philippines. We're under the PAFP or the Philippine Academy of Family Physician. So we are more than 200 members. I think we're already on the 300 members here in the Philippines. And this specialty is focused on evidence-based approach on lifestyle interventions, specifically on the diet, no? How we guide them. Okay. Second is exercise. Okay. We give them a prescription on what they have to do. If not, guiding them on how to become more active. Kasi iba lagi nakaupo. Pangatlo, yung tulog, no? So, napakalaking bagay na maayos yung tulog. Kasi kung hindi rin maganda yung tulog, apektado lahat yung pillars na yun. Pwede rin, ito yung nagpapabilis ng aging, no? Nakikita natin na mas lumalabas yun yung ibang sakit. So, importante sleep, no? Ang dami nagkaroon ng problema during the pandemic. Until now, mas nagkakaroon ng problema, no? The fourth one would be the stress management, that we give ways how they would be reducing the stress sa gabi, pagkatapos ng work, no? Doon kasi nagkakaroon ng binge eating din. Doon rin nagkakaroon tayo na nag-overthink kaya hindi rin nakakatulog. At isa na rin po ay yung mga bisyo. At yung last is social connectedness. So, yan, it's intertwined in these 6 pillars para gumanda ang kanilang kalusugan and hence, tumataas na yung longevity o yung nakikita natin sa mga centurions po, yung mga 100 years old, napapansin nyo na ang lifestyle nila ay napakaganda. No? So, dapat ganun din yung patungo rin tayo. But I know it's so hard to do, but we could do something one step at a time. And that's how lifestyle medicine do it.
Okay. So, there you have it, no? This is more focused on prevention, ano, Doc? So, unlike our previous guest, we were talking about treatments of diseases.
Nabanggit ni Doc Jan kanina, yung weight loss trends, exercise, food, yung syempre nutrition, and then may mga gamot din. And then, meron pa bang ibang bago? Usually, pag diabetes, you take yung mga metformin, para hindi ka daw tataba, etc. Exercise, ang dami nag-exercise, pero pag-uwi, syempre kakain pa rin, di ba? Paano ba papasok ang lifestyle medicine sa mga ganito? Parang hindi siya occupational, no?
Yes.
Hindi siya occupational.
It's more holistic siya sa isang tao. And we also cater to adolescent, no? So, to give you a context of how we do the lifestyle medicine, is like we give them a protocol or a guide, no? Magsisimula muna kami sa sleeping habits or sleep, and then the sleeping time, the waking time, kasi it's really important to have a routine. Kaya ang lifestyle, di ba? Habits muna, routines, and then how you become having a good lifestyle. So, sleep and waking time, doon kami nagsisimula. Hindi agad diet, sige, ito bigay natin. Hindi, maayos dapat yung sleep mo. Kasi kung hindi, you don't have a good sleeping routine, you keep on changing it, then affected din yung hormones mo sa hapon o gabi, kaya mapapansin ng iba na parang ang lakas nila kumain sa gabi compared na hindi sila nagbe-breakfast sa umaga because the hormones could be deranged, stress hormones could be going up in the afternoon, and then syempre emotional eating din, no, na napapansin din natin na nasa-stress tayo, kaya mas na napapakain tayo. Kaya yun, that's a sleep. And then the next one is the routines of the eating patterns. I really stress that one to my patients na hindi ibig sabihin nag-IF kayo or intermittent fasting na still uso pa rin, is you're gonna eat 12 to 8, yun lang within that schedule. Tapos may meal, sige, 2 o'clock na kakain, the next day, 4 p.m. Hindi ganun eh. Kailangan you have a regular eating pattern para your hormones would also know na ito yung time na para kakain ka, hindi rin bubugso rin yung acid reflux, no? And then the next then is ina-anticipate na natin, inuunahan na natin yung ating utak at yung katawan na hindi na siya mapapakain sa gabi. Okay? So, yun din, eating patterns. Then, physical activity matters too. Hindi agad na, sige, exercise agad para mag-lose ng weight. Kasi, if we just combine the two right away, naglalaban ng katawan. Physical stress, emotional, and mental stress. Kasi, nag-exercise ka na, dinadiet ka pa, di wala ka na ganong sustansya. So, papakain ka after the 3rd day. Kaya, yung iba sasabihin, nakakapagod, ayoko na mag-weight loss. So, the first in the weight loss phase that we do is we focus on controlling the appetite and the cravings first. No? We go first kung anong kaya mo na nila. Sleep, diet muna. No? Kung kaya mo na yun. Kung natawid nila yun, na-control na nila yung appetite and cravings, madali na sila mabusog, no? Then, that's when you could add physical activity. Pero if they have already the physical activity, we just maintain them, and then we increase the intensity, the frequency of that activity hanggang kumanda rin ang kalusugan nila, maramdaman na nila na emotion, yung kanilang subjectively na merong nangyayari sa kanilang katawan.
So yung prescription or yung tinatawag nating Doc Jan, protocol management, so pag sinulat mo yan yung sleep schedule, so parang ganun siya, pati yung food, the diet, and the activity. Kasi pag narinig ko yung lifestyle dati, ito yung active, sedentary. Pero this time, parang mas nagbago yung tingin ko tuloy. Iba yung point of view ko pagdating sa lifestyle, which is itong lifestyle medicine. Iba pala yung prescription ninyo, no?
Yes. So, the diet naman, it's not that specific. The specific ones are handled by nutritionists. Kami, we just give them the pointers, the habits that they have to do. Example lang, the meal sequencing po, no? So, when you say meal sequencing, is unahin mo muna ang veggies, followed by your proteins, and then the carbs. Last na po yung sweets. Bakit? Kasi when you eat the sweets, na umpisa, no, your sugar levels will be spiking. Insulin nag-overreact, kaya taas ang sugar mo. Ilan natin ibagsak. So, after 2 hours, kakain ka ulit. Kaya kunwari kumain na tayong champurrado in the morning, walang ibang protein, 2 hours, nanginginig ka na sa gutom, kakain ka ulit, di ba? Because that's the
Kaya
sugar,
pala,
that
oo.
tumataas agad siya.
Nag-spike siya,
Oo.
and then nagka-crash ka rin.
Nagka-crash, kakain ka ulit. O di parang, ay, sayang na
Gutom ulit.
diet ko. So, parang ganun. Yun yung mga points
Okay,
na dinadagdag namin. And the nutritionists really play a role too in the diet guide and also the lifestyle protocol.
Parang hindi lang siya sa patients with obesity. Parang kahit sa medyo healthy, applicable siya.
Yes, like
Okay,
here
okay.
in Baguio and also in Metro Manila, I have clients too who are the OB-GYNs or OB-GYNs are referring to me GDM clients or gestational
Gestational
diabetes. Ibig sabihin po nito yung mga buntis na nagkaroon ng mataas yung sugar level. So, sabi diabetes po sila during the pregnancy. So, yung mga nanay, ayaw nila maggamot, no? So, we try, the OB-GYN would refer to me, we'll give them a plan para mapababa namin yung sugar level with the right CBG monitoring, both of us. And kung, of course, the endocrinologists are kasama rin naman po doon. So, kung hindi po natin, kung napababa namin yun, at least hindi na sila mag-i-insulin. Pero kung talagang mataas na talaga, syempre si endocrinologist po ang gagawa ng paraan na magbibigay na po ng insulin o other recommendations. So far, sa nakikita namin nagkaroon ng GDM po, hindi po namin nakakakita na bumabalik na sila sa kanilang pagtaas ng sugar. The second one is yung mga meron po matataas na liver enzymes na they are, ito po yung mga matataas
Hindi alcoholics to mga to?
they are not alcoholics, but they have, they call, na sinasabi nila matataas yung liver enzymes probably because of their lifestyle. Some have ultrasound, na-diagnose na sila through an ultrasound or by a doctor na meron silang fatty liver. So, kung may fatty liver, our role is to help them in that component na mapababa namin yung liver enzymes, no? Para, because kung mataas po yun, may inflammation. So, what we do is we guide them in detoxifying that liver right diet, no? We don't really give a lot of supplements just to reduce that, no. We are more on the whole food plant-based approach and then physical activity. Okay? If we are doing that one for a span of 1 to 1.5 months, we check it again, yung kanila mga laboratory test, nakikita namin bumababa po talaga yung results. So, those are two occasions or two cases na it's not just the prevention side, kasama na rin po yung yung management, no, na nakakatulong din sa mga other doctors how we could manage their
So,
cases.
hindi lang mga pregnant, hindi lang yung mga patients with obesity, pati sa adolescents. Kasi nandiyan rin yung mental health nila. So, parang ang hirap yatang bigyan ng protocol management yung mga teenagers.
Yes, I would. I think based on my experiences with adolescents, medyo mahirap po talaga.
No, kasi sila that's the stage that they would go for junk food eh.
Yes.
Di ba? Fast foods.
Oo. Second po is how we work with their parents. Kasi some parents, hindi ko naman sinasabing lahat, the parents could be forcing them to lose weight, forcing them to have a good habit. Pero sa bata, no, ano po yun, stress yun sa kanila eh. Kasi stress na kasi sa kanilang studies, sinistress pa sila sa kanilang health. So, may negative feedback sa kanila, mas lalo silang nagre-rebelde. And the way to rebel is emotional eating. Makain sila mas marami. Kaya minsan lumalaki lalo sila. So, we tell them to be more empathic then yung parents, no, try to help them. And if they're really like to lose weight, no, o baka yung parents ang may gusto kaya napupressure din sila. So, that's a really hard one. And then, study schedules, no, at yung mga social media, the games that they're doing. So, it adds pressure then, no? And sleeping times, mas lalong nagde-delay, no? They are sleeping around 2 or 3 a.m. And usually, no, maski tayong mga 1990s or wala pa tayong mga cellphones noon, natutulog tayo agad. Sila, they're sleeping very late, no? So that's the challenge that we are facing when we're seeing clients like adolescent clients.
So aside sa food, yung food prescription, nandito na rin yung sleep. Healthy pa rin ba yung 6 hours sleep, Doc, dyan?
Well, we could qualify that one based on the quality and the quantity of the sleep.
Yeah.
And the third one is pagkagising mo ba, maayos ba yung feel mo ba energetic ka, no?
Refresh ka ba?
Refresh ka ba, no?
Inaantok pa ako after 6 hours.
Alam ni Doc Tong kasi ENT is OSA din po yun. Kaya kunwari sa
Yes.
hapon, inaantok-antok pa rin sila. Mahirap din natin ibigyan din sila ng magandang sleeping hygiene kasi may problem na pala sila sa umpisa. And for us in weight management, isa sa pinakamahirap din namin i-manage sleep with OSA or obstructive sleep apnea. Kasi yung utak, ramdam niya na pagod, no? Body pagod, so mas lalo siya magko-conserve ng energy. Maski magbaba tayo ng kakainin niya, ma-exercise mo siya, ramdam ng katawan na pagod siya lagi. Kaya ang hirap siya mapababa. So we tell them to now, don't expect na mabilisan ng weight loss for patients with OSA or obstructive sleep apnea. We have to be more realistic in the weight loss, but we focus on the habits, and we have to work with of doctors, no, para lang maayos yung tulog, maayos din natin yung kanilang katawan.
Do you have clients na tungkol sa sleep, do you have clients na nag-work sa call center? Kasi yung tulog nila morning.
Yes.
Oo, daytime.
And then food din sila, talagang they eat a lot. So may mga problema. Hirap din pala i-prescribe yung mga ganyan.
Yeah, we have clients
Madaling
na merong
tulog ka ng morning.
Oo, mga 9 o'clock and 3
gising ka ng
3
hapon.
PM.
Mahirap din pala.
Yes, but we are successful too with other clients na maski gabi na graveyard shift yung kanilang work. May iba, they're working 2 jobs, ha? They're working in the morning and then they're working at night, to 6 hours in yung tulog. And yet, they were able to follow a good routine. As much as possible, they have a good routine, eating patterns. Tapos, bumababa ang timbang naman nila and gumaganda yung pakiramdam. And then, syempre, dahil it's a modern lifestyle, no? Virtual yung work nila, no?
A lot of kids now, I mean, younger professionals are into night shifts. Oo. Mostly yung mga nag-work remotely, working from home, and my son is one of those. Na sa gabi talaga. But you were saying that kasi part of our belief is that iba yung quality ng sleep sa gabi compared to the quality of sleep during the daytime. But you were saying earlier that it can be corrected with protocols that you were saying,
So they need a good routine, for routine Mondays to Fridays, and then we ask them kung Saturday, Sunday damay din ba nag-iba yung kanilang routine. So we ask them that one para maayos. And if let's say they cannot reach that 6 hours on one time big time, we call them monophasic sleep. Ibig sabihin ng monophasic yung one time matutulog within 24 hours. Iba, if they're working at night, no, we do biphasic. Ibig sabihin, 2 times sila matutulog in 24 hours. So, iba, matutulog sila from 9 o'clock to 1 p.m., no? Let's say this is a graveyard shift. And then, papatulugin ulit namin sila mga 1 or 2 hours just before their work. Para they have the energy to work, no, at night. No? Para yung 1 p.m. to, let's say, 7 p.m., they could still do their chores, their errands, or still have this social connection or family gathering, no? Yun yung isang ginagawa rin namin. So, not necessarily na, kailangan 6 hours ng tulog, 7, 8 hours ng tulog. We could still help them in trying to have a good routine. And we balance it. Kung they feel okay with that, we continue those.
So parang ito palang mga protocol, itong mga treatment management sa mga pasyente na may ganyan. Adaptive pala siya doon sa lifestyle ng pasyente. Hindi siya yung stricto na dapat inumin mo to 3 times a day. Nag-a-adapt siya doon sa actual na ginagawa ng pasyente. Parang ganun yung nakikita ko sa yung ginagawa. Okay.
Yeah, we have to be more proactive din kasi if kung okay din sa kanila itong schedules, okay na ba na kumain ng gantong time. So, parang hindi rin sila, ma-feel din nila na kasama sila sa pag-craft ng routine. Kasi that's for them
Yeah.
for their own good.
So it's very personalized.
Oo,
Yeah,
person.
parang kwan yan.
Kasi personalized medicine, parang ganun na siya. Hindi
Not
pa.
that much,
Hindi
hindi naman
pa.
personalized kasi we use genes naman for personal,
precision medicine.
the
Yeah.
precision medicine. We could say personalized or tailored fit plan for them.
Yeah.
Kasi nasanay tayo dun sa medical treatment na 3 times a day or 8 hours ka matulog, 8 glasses of water a day. Pero ngayon, parang nakita ko yung other side of treatment na dapat, yun nga, parang tailor fit dun sa client. Which is baka mas naging adherent yung client dun sa treatment kasi siya mismo yun, yung treatment niya para sa kanya ginawa yun. Hindi tulad ng ginagawa ng mga karamihan ng doctors ngayon. Kung ano yung sinabi ng doktor, yun ang dapat sundin. Mas maganda nga naman yan. Mas nakaka-comply yung pasyente kapag ganyan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tsaka it's very personal eh. I remember when I was, side story lang no, when we were in college, we had a school doctor. Hindi ka pa nakakaupo, may prescription na siya. Kasi umubo ka, alam na niya. But that way, I mean, mas engage yung doctor-patient relationship, di ba? Parang, sabi mo nga, tailor fit for the kind of lifestyle. But Doc, going back to the diet, kasi may maraming nauusong diet ngayon eh. So I'm hearing keto diet, Mediterranean, intermittent fasting naman na on the other side. Do this really work? I mean, like keto diet. Is it just a fad diet or is there a science behind the keto diet?
Yeah, for keto diet or ketogenic diet, that is approved for children with seizures. So they have to be hospitalized. The pediatricians or even the neurologists will be prescribing that one for them, but it's not for weight loss or for any medical condition po yun, though there is this side effect of that ketogenic diet na laki na drop ng weight,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, parang I heard it from people wanting to lose weight eh. So it's not intended pala originally for, okay.
And then people think na if they go for ketogenic diet by themselves, na parang, sige, para mag-lose na ako ng weight. But yung nakikita natin na trend, or still yung practice ng iba, is they go for dirty keto. When you say dirty keto, they eat deep-fried foods, deep-fried meat. So, taas yung saturated fat. Tumataas din yung, syempre, cholesterol din, which we don't like. We have just just to share a friend of my patient na sabay sila nag-diet, pero siya, ng friend, na nag-ketogenic diet, nasugod sa hospital dahil na heart attack, So, we don't want that kind of trajectory na, sige, do the ketogenic diet by yourself. I think you need the guidance too, lalo na kung mababa na yung calories. The Mediterranean diet, it's a good diet. It's also being a trend, not only in the States, but in Europe. They don't usually call the Mediterranean diet. When I went to UK, for a conference in lifestyle medicine, they don't really call the Mediterranean diet. It's more on Mediterranean lifestyle.
Oh,
Because
okay.
they eat healthy foods and then they talk more. Usap muna sila na mas madami kaysa sa kain. So yun yung Mediterranean lifestyle. And based on the studies on the Mediterranean lifestyle, gumaganda yung na kalusugan in terms of reducing the cardiovascular risk, heart attack and stroke, And then for intermittent fasting, it's not a diet, it's a dietary pattern. Kasi it teaches you what time you're gonna start eating and end eating, So may mga 8 hours of eating and then 16 hours of fasting. We call them 8-16, Yung iba naman nag-reduce niyan. For me, as a doctor, a weight management and lifestyle medicine doctor, I don't advise my clients to go for 1 meal in a day. Yung MAD, na usong-uso pa rin. Kasi yun yung uso na
A lot
ngayon.
of people do that now.
Kasi their hormones would feel na parang, isang beses ka lang pala kakain di isa lang. Paano kung kumain ka ng 2 times and then you have overeaten? So, it may affect lang your hormones, and also laboratory tests could also see na parang may abnormal. And then generally, outside, feel mo na parang instead of losing weight, your weight just stagnated kasi your body felt na ang baba ng kinakain mo. Bagsak din natin yung metabolism mo. So, I prefer eating sana yung mga 2 or 3 meals in a day para hindi lang laging 1 meal lang, parang na masyadong konti lang po yun. No? That's for weight management part.
Nabanggit mo kanina, Doc Jan, yung Mediterranean lifestyle, more of talking. So, nabanggit mo rin kanina yung sa protocol, yung social connectedness. Ito ba yun?
Yes,
You talk
yes.
more.
Yes.
Pero I eat more after talking.
Sila kasi
Ano itong social connectedness tsaka weight loss?
Well, ang social connectedness, and let's say in terms of weight loss, syempre yung mga social connectedness, it is like your work-life balance. So,
Okay.
kung Mondays to Fridays, you're working, tapos Saturday, Sunday, ano gagawin mo? No? Are you gonna meet with your family or friends, or you're just gonna stay at home? Kung nagyayain isang kaibigan mo or your family na, sige, kain tayo sa labas, or punta tayo sa isang park, punta tayo sa atok, or sa ibang lugar. Tapos ikaw, hindi, busy lagi ako. Where's your work-life balance? No?
Okay.
Minsan, when you take a look at the Netflix na mga Blue Zones and yung mga documentaries of longevity, ang isang kailangan po is social connectedness. So, doon sila nagtutulungan, doon din sila nagkakaroon ng way of, but that's part of social health. No? I'm not saying na, ito, tama po ito, pero napapansin nyo rin po, kunwari namatay isang lola, tapos na-feel bad yung lolo na nawalan ng partner, minsan sumusunod, no?
Yeah.
So,
Oo.
part ng emotional health din, kaya kailangan din ng magandang social connectedness. That's how you help in longevity part and for health. Now, for weight loss naman, napakalaking bagay din ng social connectedness kasi you need some people to help you, professionals, no, to guide you in the process or the coaching part. Next is your family or friends na gusto rin magpapayat, so you are helping one another to lose weight. So, doon rin gumaganda din po. If you're doing by yourself, syempre it's gonna be really a challenge. But if you know somebody else na interested to work with you or to compete against you in a healthy way, then mas lalo naging challenge yun, mas lalo mag-lose kayo ng weight.
So, I see social connectedness is something physical activity or face-to-face. Hindi yung virtual community to, no? Na
Yeah.
social, hindi yun, ano?
Mas maganda yung, syempre,
Yung post ka ng post na down by a few pounds.
So, nabanggit natin kanina yung food, yung sleep, social connectedness. Mental health ba yung isa sa prescription protocol?
Stress management.
Stress management. So, kung very stressful. We eat stress every day, Doc Jan.
Yes. So, meron namang good stress and bad stress.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So, the good stress is, may holiday na naman. February's Valentine's, you know. So, baka may magre-regalong flowers. Tapos, ikaw naman, may ibibigay ka something, that's a good stress. Yung bad stress, yun yung tinitignan namin. Lalo na for weight management. Or sa mga taong hindi maka-follow ng routines or their lifestyle, tinitignan namin, bakit hindi sila nakakapag-diet? Ba't lumalakas yung kain nila sa gabi? So, titignan namin, sige, tapos yung kanilang trabaho ng around 5 p.m. Kakain na ng 6 p.m. So, ano gagawin nila? Minsan, magja-jogging o mag-zumba sa gabi na todo-todo, no? Na to the point na kakain sila pagkatapos
Yes, after.
nun, no?
Nagutom
So, nagutom. And then, biglang kakain pa sila na matamis sa gabi, no? So, ang ginagawa namin dito is we help improve them with their routines. Like, to give you an example, papakainin muna namin sila 2 hours before they go to the gym or mag-zumba with the right protein, no, to help with the satiety, para hindi sila masyadong kakain sa after the Zumba. No? Now, if they've been doing the Zumba for a long period of time, kaya nila yun. Pero for people who are going to start the Zumba and then for weight loss purposes, expect mo talagang yung cravings tataas doon kasi di sanay. High intensity activity po yun So
Maraming
tataas ang appetite,
burn na
tataas ang
energy.
cravings mo. Pagkatapos hahanap ka na ng fast food, sige, kain tayo. Kaya iba, hindi ka nakakita ng weight or result of the weight loss when you're doing that. So we do parang step by step sa kanila.
So, nandun na yung stress management. Ito ano yung
Yes.
body stress. Dito rin papasok yung mental health siguro.
So may iba lang na just to add lang dun sa stress management. Tinitingnan din namin kung the caffeine intake, no? So
Coffee?
coffee, no? So may iba malakas uminom ng coffee. And
Pati
even
soda,
dark
no? Pati
chocolates,
soda na pati
energy
soda na
drinks.
caffeine.
So dark chocolate surprisingly mataas din yung caffeine din po. No?
Talaga?
Okay.
Oo. So, if they've been taking more than 4 cups of coffee, kung regular yan, 400 milligrams of caffeine, that's the maximum per day. If they've been taking a lot of caffeine, dyan po, the stress hormones will be spiking. Siyempre, mas stress ka, di ba? So, kung na-stress ka with that coffee, too much of the coffee or tea, no? Ang mangyayari, you're gonna think a lot. Na you want to do everything in one time. Minsan, kung na-delay pa, or uminom ka pa ng kape before you go to sleep, it would really affect your sleep. Delay it.
Quality of-
And then, mas madami ka pang isipin sa gabi. No? Iniisip mo na hindi mo nagawa pala to. So, mas lagi nagkakaroon ka ng anxiety. May mga tinatawag tayong sleep anxiety sa mo. So, ang ginagawa namin with that is we check their coffee intake or caffeinated drinks intake, and then we tell them na 6 hours before their scheduled bedtime, yun yung last intake of their coffee. No? Kasama na ng dark chocolate din dun. No? So, kunwari 12 midnight yung kanilang tulog, minus 6 p.m. would be their last intake.
Their last coffee.
Those are things, and then we may tell them to add meditation, but there are more. If it's not really, kung talagang meron ng anxiety, of course, the psychiatrist, the psychologist will be the one to do that one. Sa amin, it's more on the stress management part. Sa kanila, syempre, it's more detailed and more comprehensive yung sa psychiatrist and the psychologist.
So, yung pala yun, stress, food, sleep, and social connectedness. May nalimutan pa ba ako doon, Doc, dyan? Parang 4 lang yung...
Vices, the vices.
Smoking?
The smoking.
How about
alcohol.
vape? Yung mga vape, ang daming nag-vape eh.
Yes, that's really a challenging one, no? Kasama na rin kasi siya sa parang addiction, no? So, what I do is I give talks to smoking cessation. But for smoking cessation kasi, mahirap talaga, no? You need to go to dig deeper sa tao. Bakit niya kailangan mag-smoke, mag-quit ng smoke, no? Hindi naman health reason lagi yung smoking cessation thinking ng isang tao eh. So, you have to medyo sasabihin, tatakutin mo ng konti. Example ng takot is, if you, let's say, you're a 35-year-old male, dad, I would say, tapos may anak ka na isang, let's say, 2-year-old, para tatakutin mo, in the next 10 years, gusto mo pa bang ikaw umakyat sa stage, no? Na ikaw magsasabit ng medal.
Okay.
Sa smoking, baka hindi na. Siyempre, baka COPD ka na, hindi ka na makahinga na maayos, no? Hanggang doon ka na lang, naka-wheelchair ka na lang, no? So, minsan pinapaisip mo sa kanila na ito mangyayari in the next 10 years. Gusto mo ba ganito? Minsan, yun yan mapapaisip, sige, titigil ko na. Siguro, birthday na anak ko, titigil ko na. Kung natawid nila in 2 weeks yan, na wala sila masyadong kinikrave for, could be smoking or vaping, higher chance na they would be able to quit successfully. Pero kung 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, bumalik-balik yan, medyo mahirap yan.
Kasi may mga clients tayo na they will like to cigarette para daw hindi sila tataba. Nakakarinig ako ng mga ganyan eh. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, anong connection nun?
Yes, may connection pa na.
May connection
Yeah,
yun.
because of the nicotine.
After eating to, no?
Yes. Or even before. Kasi
Or before.
the nicotine kasi is quite strong to control to the cravings, no? So, ang takot ng iba is we don't want to remove smoking or vaping na content is nicotine kasi baka tumaba sila.
Yeah, kasi they will start craving for food.
Yes.
Kasi nawala yung kwan eh. Yeah.
So, based on studies naman, mga 5 to 7 pounds weight gain na nangyayari. Pero kayang-kaya naman siyang i-manage naman. So, doon lang sila natatakot eh. So, yun ang tinatawag namin type is skinny smokers. Kasi gusto nila talaga, they smoke just because
They want to maintain their weight.
Okay. Mga gaano ka, ewan ko kung may healthy na ilang pounds ba ang dapat ma-loss ko per week o per month? Baka sumobra naman yung weight loss ko per week. Meron bang Doc Jan? Standard or
Before, or we're still using it, no? Yung mga 1 to 2 pounds per week, no?
1 to 2 pounds per
Yeah,
week?
so yun yung ginagamit pa rin natin,
okay.
ng iba. Pero for me, I use percentage, no? 5 to 10%, minsan 5 to 15% within 3 months. Now, based on your current weight or your baseline, no? Kasi, paano kung malapit na yung ideal body weight mo, ma-reach mo yun, di ba? Let's say 140 pounds ka. Ideal body weight is 135 pounds, let's say in that height. Siyempre, 1 to 2 pounds, suntok sa buwan talaga yun kasi hindi naman pwedeng makakalus ka agad ng ganun, di ba? Kung malapit na. So, we use percentage for that, no? Para to see if there would be progress, no? Medyo mahirap yung 1 to 2 pounds in a span of 4 weeks. Lalo na kung malapit ka na sa ideal body weight. But for my practice, I don't really tell them to go for the ideal body weight. Kasi kaya natawag ideal body weight. Meron din ibang tao na malalaki yung muscles, malalaki yung bony talaga, yung mga ibang babae, lalaki. So, you cannot just drop it and drop it para lang to go for ideal body weight. Minsan meron na acceptable weight within the BMI, no? Or also kung ano yung kanilang goal weight na healthy pa rin.
Dami ko natutunan ngayon, Ma'am Lucy, sa point of view na isang lifestyle medicine doctor. Baka meron pa kayong tanong?
Konting tanong lang sa food sequencing, Doc. Kasi yung sa sugar levels and all. Kasi may issue din ako sa sugar, blood sugar. You mentioned that the sweets come after, no? Pero may ewan ko kung myth yun or what, but they were also saying that you eat the raw foods ahead. Oo. But fruits are raw, di ba? And is the sugar in fruits equivalent to the sweets that we talk about in our regular diet, no?
Yes, there are certain fruits, no, na mataas talaga sa sugar. Even endocrinologists would say na huwag kayong kakain.
Kunyari, mangga. Ripe mangoes.
So, ito lang siguro technique lang so that they could still eat no, before they eat their usual ulam or that meal is kung ano yung mga matitigas na fruit na kainin, inuunahin nila. Hindi yung grapes agad, pineapples, no? Watermelon, citrus before they eat. Kasi ano ba nangyayari kung once they eat that fruit? No? Pagkagat nyo, durog. Pagkadurog, pupunta sa intestines, fluids din at saka may sugar. So, absorb agad talaga ng katawan natin yung sugar, tataas po yan. Unlike an apple or a banana na hindi overripe, hindi naman tataas agad po yun kasi take some time for you to, the intestines, nilalasap lang naman ng intestines lang po yung yung mga pagkain lang natin eh. Kung nilalasap niya lang, hindi na makuha yung sugar po doon. Kaya hindi masyado mataas yung tataas yung sugar level. So, it's like that principle lang naman po. No?
Yeah.
Eat first yung mga matitigas na fruits. Now, if let's say, may watermelon, syempre sayang naman po, hindi na makakain ng iba. You combine it with other fruits na solid. Kaya napansin sa fruit cocktail, merong malambot, merong matigas. May papaya. Diba? Parang ganun din po. So, yun yung isang technique that they could do.
Yeah, so with that, Doc, thank you so much. Your availability, Doc, would be, you have clinics in the medical city,
or
which is in
mga
Manila,
taga-Baguio,
or
mga kasamahan po natin dito sa Baguio, baka pwedeng bisitahin si Doc Jen.
Yes.
Or paano ba nila kayo i-contact?
Here in Baguio, I have clinics in Lab Life in 5th floor, Portavaga. It's by appointment, so usually Tuesdays 2 to 5 p.m. naman po. But mostly I'm from Manila naman yung aking or we do it online. So online naman, they could just
online
go to
consult.
JanMedicalGroup.ph.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doc Tong?
Wala na, ang dami kong gusto pang tanungin pero siguro sa ibang ano na lang. Tungkol sa
Oo.
foods,
Dapat
sleep,
may
and
follow-up,
stress.
ano?
Oo. Sure. Yes, Ma'am Lucy.
Oo.
Thank you, Doc John.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ma'am Lucy.
Siguro hingan natin ng last message si
Oh,
Doc
yes.
before we wrap up. Any last message, Doc, for our viewers?
If you're planning to change your lifestyle, take one step at a time. Huwag masyadong marami mag-research kasi you could get overwhelmed. If you could just do one step, let's say your sleep, the diet, and then susunod yung exercise, that's what you could do. But if you're confused, no, or you're getting overwhelmed with a lot of information, that's when you could reach out to professionals, doctors, nutritionists, and other allied professionals to help you with your goal.
So with that, maraming salamat ulit at kita-kits tayo sa susunod na Sabado.